What up? What up? If anyone in chat can hear me, just push one. All right, got a confirmation. Thank you for that confirmation, man. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is a open chat, customer service. Everybody's welcome. Okay, everybody's welcome today. Spend about an hour, man, see who comes up with their customer complaints about the Black Brain Trust. I was just over on The Truth As I Know It. You know, went over there to go hit the thumbs up button. I noticed some commentary in the chat about the Black Brain Trust. I found that interesting because the conversation that they're having, you know, Truth As I Know It, shout out to him. Complex is on the plan over there with him. And the conversation that they're having has largely nothing to do with what we do as a channel, at least not to my knowledge. I wasn't sure. I might have come in between the conversation, but I'm just saying that there seems to be certain people in this space who have a problem with what we do as a channel within the Black male social space. And so the critique that they have of the Black Brain Trust is that we don't like Mike V reading articles. These guys, you know, don't know what they're talking about. They're not really who they say they are, and you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I wanted to make sure that we have an actual direct conversation. You know, I'm not with the passive aggressiveness. You know, I like to get it in, so to speak. And so I hear a lot of guys just talking, and it's really men that's talking. It's not women, it's men, right? Black men who have a set of issues with the Black Brain Trust. And, you know, I travel pretty frequently in and out of the United States. I've never had anybody ever question the legitimacy of what I say, some of the stuff that I've written, some of the items that I've written, my work performance. No one's ever actually complained about what I do in regards to tech discussions and so on and so forth. Now, I'm not, you know, an expert, you know, at coding and stuff like that. So I kind of don't project myself to be that type of person. And I think the Brain Trust, what we really strive for on the Brain Trust is to raise the level of conversation that is currently and was formerly being had in the what we know as the Black Manosphere. How we came about this, we've had this sort of, we told our story many times before, but I want to make sure that we just put this on the record for the sake of conversation. What was happening before in the Manosphere was that they were having these sort of Saturday night live streams. Everybody was live streaming, you know, around like the 2014, 2015, 2016 mark, you know, there was a lot of live streams going on. And BGS used to have Saturday night live streams. And I thought it was pretty chaotic, to be quite honest with you. And I said to BGS, I said, you know, I asked them questions. I said, you know, what if we try having these hourly blocks of discussion that is like focused on specific subjects where people can actually get in, right? Because it was pretty chaotic with all these, you know, people cutting each other off, and, you know, the conversations would segue from one thing to another. It was just really chaotic. And I'm a person who's I'm a systems person, right? I like to see constructive dialogue and discourse and actual structure, right? If I don't see structure, I go crazy. It's like, you know, I start freaking out. My anxiety goes crazy. And so one of the things that I had advised BGS on was, you know, let's try these hourly blocks. And we had, an hour for cryptocurrencies, an hour for geopolitics, an hour for finance and economics. And you would get guys come on the panels, different hourly blocks, and it would swap people out, and you would hear different perspectives, and people would agree to disagree, or they'll agree to agree with each other and whatnot. And we would pull up charts and stuff like that. That was going on Saturday nights on BGS's panels. And there were certain people who did not like us having these sort of hourly block discussions. And after a few incidents propped up, we decided that we were going to create our own channel and have these discussions amongst ourselves, okay? And the people who came from BGS's platform came to ours, and voila, you have a Black brain trust, okay? Now, we did not come up with this term. It was Young Grizzly who came up with this term, the Black brain trust. He said, this is our Black brain trust. This is my Black brain trust, okay? This is where I get my critical and substantive information to keep me going, okay? We didn't crown this ourselves. Somebody else crowned this on us. And over time, the channel started to grow because people wanted to have these substantive conversations. Now, the reading of the articles is because we want to cite our sources, okay? We want to read everything verbatim so that we're not actually misquoting or saying something that was out of context from what it was originally sourced from. And so what's happening in the manosphere is that a lot of people don't like us personally, okay? They don't like us. They don't like what we stand for. They don't like what we do. And they don't like where we're trying to go. And it's only Black people who are doing this. It's not white people, okay? We have people from Europe. We've had Chinese people hit us up. Shout out to Scholar Chang and some of the other people out in Southeast Asia who have hit us up. And we have people from the continent who listen to our content and say, I really like some of the stuff that you guys are talking about, okay? The only people who don't like us are people who are here in the United States. And it's actually Black men. It's not Black women. It's not white people, okay? It's not white men. And so for all the critique that these people have, they never pull up. We've offered people, with these Black Manosphere events, hey, send us an invitation. We'll come down. Did we get the invitation? No. You know why we don't get the invitation? It's two reasons. One, they don't want the smoke. And two, they just don't like us. They don't like what we stand for. They don't like where we're trying to go. They don't like what we try to do. We're trying to raise the level of discussion amongst Black men. The arguing with Black women back and forth, the bickering of what they consider to be the left. A lot of this is just pure ignorance. And it's not like these guys are like 13, 14, and 15 years old. We're talking about grown men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and even 60s, pushing this sort of rhetoric. We've had people try to sabotage us, trying to break into our channels. People who have tried to, trademark our name. And it's like, where is all this coming from? We have never asked for $1. We've established back in 2017 that we would never, ever accept money from anybody in the Black Manosphere. That's why the super chats are not enabled. We don't put our Cash Apps out there, no Venmos, no Zeals, nothing like that. We want to raise the level of discussion amongst Black men, okay? I think Earn Your Leisure podcast is really doing a great job at that, but they're not in the Black Manosphere, okay? There's a specific demographic of Black men who engage in this space that we're trying to reach that are looking for us too, okay? We know that based on the response from BGS's live streams, that people wanted to find more people who are like-minded like us, okay? And what we have done is taken the Manosphere and have forced everybody to up their game in terms of content. Because now you can't just make content and say that, oh, well, you know, this, and this. Okay, so what's your sources on that? We're the ones who push for sources. We're the ones who force people to actually cite their sources and bring that, bring your references to the table so that we can all examine it together. A lot of other people weren't doing that. They would just say stuff and it would just fly out there. And it's like, whoa, wait a second here. Where did that come from? And so I read these articles, and we read these articles because we have to make sure that we're all on the same page. Not because I like to read articles. I'm an avid reader myself. I just don't want us having conversations where there's a lot of misinformation being put out here. And there's a lot of that going out throughout the Manosphere. A lot of misinformation. There's a lot of disinformation. People are purposefully, you know, trying to disrupt the space with bad information on purpose so that they can actually derail the conversations and derail the momentum of the space. And so that's what's happening in you know, in the Black Manosphere as we know it today. You know, I've been here since 2007. Okay, there's a lot of people in here that I came in here with. Soul in Black, Wacky World of O, the original O Man, Thugtician, SWP, Captain Solo, Pink Elephant. There's a myriad of people who were here before a lot of these other jokers who got something to say about us was here. And so I came in at a time where you had to actually prove yourself. You had to prove yourself. You had to say what you had to make sure that what you were saying was of substance. And you had to cite your sources too. You couldn't just say something off the cuff and it was like, oh, yeah, you just got to accept that. No, we're not accepting that. Okay. If you say the Chinese, for example, are ripping off the Africans with bad contracts and stuff like that, you got to prove that. You can't just say that to us, or at least to me for that matter, and then think that that's going to hold weight. That doesn't hold weight with me. Okay. Malcolm Nance was just outed as being a fraud over in the Ukraine, but there were a lot of people in the space, or certain people in the space, who were propping up Malcolm Nance as a very credible person. How did they know that? Based off of what? We need to see more data. We need to see more sources. And what's happening in this space is that a lot of people in here don't like the fact that we push people to verify their information. And so what they want is to have have no holds barred, no boundaries, no rules, no sort of decorum at all, and just do whatever they want and think that they're going to have progress with that. Where are you going with it? And so that's what forced us to create the channel and the Black Brain Trust as a whole. Black Brain Trust is not just a channel, it's a movement, okay? It's a movement. People are still using our content to this very day. I see the comments, I get the emails, I get the DMs. People are still hitting me up saying, yo, man, I listened to what you guys are talking about in 2019. Yo, man, that shit was dope. And we have not changed our content all that much. Okay? There's just a lot of people in this space who secretly or openly don't like us because of what we stand for. Yes, it's run like a small fraternity, because you have to be very specific. You have to be of a specific persuasion to actually get on the panel and actually engage us. Even Taz has come on our panel many a times, and every time he's come on there, he's been very respectful. But you got certain cats, man, who got high levels of education, high levels of job performance, corporate experience, and they still have no sort of respect for us. Not because we did anything to them, but because they don't like the fact that they can't dominate our panel. You're not going to dominate us, and you're not going to intimidate us on our own panel. We back down for nobody. The links they drop every single time, and a lot of these cats who got a problem with us never show up. You got a problem with the information? Let's go over it together. Or is it that you have a problem with us? If you have a problem with us, we can just turn the mic and the cameras off and let's have a conversation offline. Let's meet up in person. But we don't get, to that point because a lot of these folks are not really about that life, man. A lot of these, quiet as kept, there's a lot of people in this space who want to see Black men fail. They want to see you fail. They don't want you advancing because their whole entire life is predicated and their identity is predicated off of Black male failure. And as long as the space pushes more and more failure, that's what they want. They don't go to the white manosphere and try that. They only come to the Black manosphere and try that. Okay? You never see them go to the white manosphere and disrupt their panels or disrupt their discussions or try to put smut on their name. They only come here and do that. They hate to see Black men advancing or looking to advance within this social space. They don't like that. Well, the manosphere is not really about that. Says who? Says who? Okay. When MOT talks about trucking, there's a lot of folks that could use his information. You'll be surprised how many Black men in this space are not really doing all that well. They're just too afraid to come out and say something. I get it. But those are the Black men that we need to reach. We need to get to those Black men so that they get the right information, so they can make the right decisions, so they can make the right moves and get the right outcome. And you have people in this space who don't want to see Black men advance. These are not white people. These are Black men. Okay? And not only are they Black men, but they're highly educated Black men, very good at what they do work-wise. They make a few shekels, and then they turn back around and they come over here and they turn, the space into a nigger space. I remember Manosphere 1.0. We didn't have all these problems. But what made Manosphere 1.0 as rock solid as it was that there was a digital divide. There were a lot of Black men who could not participate in the space because they did not have a high-performing computer at the time, or they did not have the handheld technology of what we now know as smartphones. Okay. If you didn't have either one, which was very expensive back then, you weren't going to be able to find us. And so we didn't have all of these problems of disruptors coming into space. And people who did disrupt were largely marginalized from the space. Okay. There were several Black men who came into the space, they talked a lot of crap, and people just kind of zeroed them out and they kind of fell off the radar. And nobody shared their content. No one really respected what they had to say. They were just, banging pots and pans. I give credit to Sergeant Willie Pete because I think he came in there into the space with a different angle. He was sick and tired of being sick and tired of the BS that was being spouted by women in particular and older Black people. Okay, he was sick and tired of that, and he was a positive disruptor. He forced people to have that tough conversation that you could not have offline. I mean, he's changed a lot today, but Sergeant Willie Pete 2008 was a radically different person. He was pretty radical in what he was saying, because the conscious community or the pro-Black community were very, they used kitty gloves to engage people because there was a level of decorum that needed to be had in order to facilitate a substantive conversation. And I think Sergeant Willie Pete kind of turned the tables over and really changed that dynamic. But he did it for the good, though. He wasn't being disrespectful. He did it for the good. He was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I understand where he was coming from. But for somebody like me, I didn't agree with Sergeant Willie Pete because I was cut from a different cloth. And to this very day, I really don't agree with a lot of things he says. I just respect the fact that he has an opinion and he's not looking to, you know, disrespect anybody. I think he's just, you know, he's venting. He vented a lot when he was younger. And so the Manosphere 1.0, I enumerated the spaces because there was a lot, again, more misinformation about who was here first and, you know, we did this and we did that. No, there were people here long before you got here, right? And so I wanted to make sure that when people come here, that they know that somebody else was here before them. It's kind of like the 1776 project versus the 1619 project, okay? Some people believe that 1776 was the start of the United States. But for Black people, 1619 reflects the start of the transatlantic slave trade, okay? Or at least the arrival of the slaves. That's pretty much how they see it. And I see it as we came here with a different purpose than what some other guys have. These same guys who got criticism for us, they never go anywhere and mess with these gray boys. They never mess with the white manosphere. They always come here. And when they're not here harassing us, they're on women's panels. How are you going to be a recent father, right? You're supposed to be a married man and a recent father, but you steady harassing other men. I never spend that much time harassing men. When we do content, right, we talk about conservatism and conservatives and Black conservatives and whatnot, right? We're not attacking the person, we're attacking the argument and we're attacking the social dynamic of conservatism because it's a fallacy, right? A lot of Black men are attracted to this, you know, patriarchal idea that, you know, really never existed in the Black community at all. You know, patriarchy isn't about fathers running their household. It's a societal system. Okay, it's how you run your society. And Black men have been the victims of patriarchy since the inception of this country. Why would you want to reenact that system? I don't know. There's a lot of people who are very ahistorical in this space, and they like to sell more misinformation. You see them getting super chats and cash apps and stuff like that. And I'm like, you do know that that information is wrong. But me pointing it out makes me a bad person, and me questioning the legitimacy of that content creator is wrong. But those putting out bad information are considered to be the good guys. Only in the manosphere do you get this sort of upside down logic. And so there are a lot of people who subscribe to the Black Brain Trust who don't necessarily say anything in the chat. They watch the replays or they email. They never say anything out in the open. And those are the people that I want to reach, you know, that we want to reach. We want to engage those people. But these other folks who got a problem with us, they thumbs down the channel, they flag our content. How can you flag content that, you know, looks out for the best interests of Black boys? How does that work? Right? And so these are the frustrations that I have, man. There's so many dudes in here who, you know, quite frankly, offline, I would never engage with, you know, a good portion of them. I was cut from a different cloth. You come up in that barbershop talking reckless, you got two choices here. Either you leave on your own or an ambulance gonna come pick you up. I've seen dudes get shot in the barbershop, in the barber chair. I've seen dudes get robbed up in there. I've seen dudes get their, get their snot box rocked up in the barbershop. There's certain things you just can't do offline that a lot of cats in the manosphere do online. What's wrong with having decorum? The Black Brain Trust doesn't go around threatening people. It doesn't go around attacking people. It doesn't go around flagging channels. We're just trying to have decent conversation amongst other Black men. What's wrong with that? All these guys who got a problem with us, they either A, don't pull up, or B, they're always talking about us on different channels. It's like, damn, like, if you were married men, if you got a girlfriend or something like that, why are you so worried about what we doing, man? No Renaissance. I don't go to a rough barbershop. The thing here is this. I remember back in the day, like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, they used to keep cash registers in barbershops and stuff like that because they wanted to keep a tally on what the barbers were making, right? And so they took the cash registers out because people started robbing, at the end of the night. And so what barbers started to do is they started to just pay their chair, pay their rental fee for their chairs and, keep their money in their pocket or whatever. But even then, barbers started getting robbed because, the stick-up kids knew where the barbers, how much money, barbershops were accruing based on the amount of people that went in there. If you're paying $25 for a haircut, you got 20 people in there. That's a good lick for a stick-up kid. And so barbers started getting gun licenses, license to carry, because they were business owners. And cats that came in there sideways, they found out the hard way. And guys who came out their mouth, running their mouth sideways, they found out the hard way too. I've seen it one too many times. Not just at one barbershop, many barbershops, whether they're Black or Latino. Latinos like to throw down, okay? Especially after a few Coronas with the lime in it, they like to throw down. What I'm saying here is this: the Black manosphere doesn't seem to have any sort of structure. It doesn't believe that you should wipe your, you should wash your hands. If you go to any restaurant or any business, right, that has a restroom, on the back of the door or somewhere placard on the wall, it says all employees must wash hands. How come we don't have something like that in the manosphere where every nigga should wash his fucking hands before he gets on the panel? What's wrong with that? There's an old saying when I was growing up: one hand washes the other, both wash the face. Today, you don't really see that in the manosphere. You see a lot of guys, man, they just come in here disrespectful, don't really care about what you have to say or what you're talking about. And the conversation could be very fruitful, but these guys don't seem to care. They want to see Black men fail. It's not just these gray boys out here. It's not just these, white supremacists and stuff like that. It's not just them, man. There's a lot of Black men in here whose whole entire identity is predicated off of the failure of other Black men. So they hate something like the Brain Trust. They hate somebody like MOT. Okay? They hate, code breakers. Because any one of these channels will debunk a lot of their misinformation and their legitimacy in the space. Okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the link. Customer service. And whoever has a problem, you're welcome to come up. Yeah, you're right. It has turned into a roach motel. That's exactly what the Manosphere has turned into, a roach motel. Excuse me, and for the noise in the background, there's a lot of racing going on outside, man. It get a little warm out, and cats want to act up immediately. What's going on, Lonzo Hall?
What's going on, Mike? How are you?
I'm good, brothers. What's on your mind?
Doing well. So, my one gripe would be that there's not enough daily content from the Black Brain Trust. I want more.
Yo, man, we used to do a lot of content daily. I think that what happened with the pandemic, man, I used to work remotely. And so I was able to really get into a lot of content, but they pulled me back into the office, and I don't really have that bandwidth anymore. And so I would like to do more content, man. I would like to do more stuff on the continent as well with somebody like O'Shea over there with the Kinganda stuff, man. There's a lot of content creators over there I like to do content with. I just think that with me getting pulled in a lot of different directions, Complex is working on his startup. We just don't have the bandwidth that we used to have prior to the pandemic. And so I think that I'm definitely looking at different options. I think things are going to change probably like next year or something like that, with my situation. And so we'll see what happens. MOT, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Chilling out.
Chilling, man.
I mean, but you have to understand, like, there's this, they're keeping this cowardice going, and people are actually paying to be stuck. And I really didn't know that Black men were this fucking pathetic, to be quite honest with you. Like, I didn't know that. Like I get much more success now working within the communities to which I own property on this stuff, because there's not even white men or even Latino men out there trying to get these kids right and shit. No one's trying to do that. And it's like, everybody have just given the fuck up. I'm talking about across the board. Whites too.
Yep.
We're going to these white communities, they've just given the fuck up. These people just like, fuck it. We're just gonna live 6 to a trailer. And we're just gonna fight over stupid shit. And a couple people on disability, and the rest people are doing whatever they side hustles, and that's just enough for them. Like, a lot of these people have really given up, man. Like, this is the time to be rolling and on the move, but it's like the opportunities are now here, but the fight is gone. Like, how does that work? Where you now have more opportunity than you've ever had a chance to get to. I'm talking about felons included. Felons are probably, as a group, are probably the dudes who probably came up the most during the fucking pandemic, because they were always waiting for the opportunity to have those jobs and shit. 18, 19, 23, $24 an hour. And most of them kept their nose clean and shit, but it's just that people just wouldn't generally give them a chance. And then the pandemic happened. That's what happened to my little brother. My little brother's making like $120,000 a year. This dude never could get a job like that before. Now he has a job like that now. And he's never in that type of position before. But the opportunities was there, but the fight was gone. It's like, but all of this shit is all over the Midwest, man. When you go to a Kentucky, in Ohio, a Kansas, like Oklahoma, you see these people who just gave up. Now the parents gave up, and the kids are like stuck. But like, once you start giving the information to the kids on how, dude, them kids take off. They're gone. They don't come back. They don't hang out with anybody. They just disappear off the scene. Yeah, so that's what you got. That's what you got right now.
Yeah, but I think they filtered into the Manosphere for nefarious reasons, man, to really tear down the space. And, you know, it's kind of like putting SWAT stickers everywhere, man. You know, you probably can get away with that at nighttime, man, but in the daytime, that's kind of difficult, man. People are looking. And I see things in the chat boxes, in the comment sections, where I'm like, how are we the focus of the discussion, man, for something negative? But these other jokers who are putting out really bad content, they don't get any smoke at all.
But they're rewarded for it. You know,
Yeah,
they are rewarded handsomely for acting a goddamn fool. And so they're like, you know what? If you want to be paid to be a fool, you got to be a fool too. And I'm like, all right, nah, man, I'm not on that shit, man. Like that's something that y'all on. And I'm like, there's really no rationale at this point to even be arguing with a lot of these people, because they don't bring anything to the table at all. And they have to keep this community broken. They have to keep Black men broken. They have to keep shuttling more and more men and keep leveraging onto bad women. They have to do this shit in order to keep their position. They have to do that. It's sad, but I think now that more people have just like disengaged the space and just started doing their own thing. I mean, it becomes entertainment when you're not growing, you're not capable of growing, and you're not supporting the actual thing that you should be supporting online. Like me, like most of the emails and shit I get from is from other minority groups outside of Black and women. Never Black men. Maybe less than 1% of the fucking emails that I get are from Black men who want to actually do some shit. The rest of it is just other people. They put the shit into action. They get going. They stop hanging out with certain groups of people, because you have to understand, like this failed attempt at masculinity covers the entire culture. The entire culture is built upon broken men. The entire culture is based on leveraging the collective stupidity of these people. The entire culture is based on leveraging collective ignorance and looping them around in a circle. So I don't know what you can be able to do for people who just don't want to do for self. And then have the nerve to call themselves conservative.
Yeah.
Hey Mike, my name is Ronan. I come over from Dennis Sperling. And,
what's going on, bro?
What's up, Ronan?
how you doing, man? I'm nodding along with everything you say, because I agree. I've left the Black Manosphere because of the Pookism that I see rising, and also the attack on Dennis Sperling, Esquire, because he was saying the truth, and so they technically disavowed him. So when they disavowed him, they disavowed me. So I you know, it's just the way it is. The cookie crumbles. So I'm trying to start my own thing, well, with reputable people.
What do you mean by disavow?
They sent him a letter. They sent him a letter with the founders of the Black Manosphere, the so-called founders of the Black Manosphere, sent him a letter and saying that he is no longer a part of that, and et cetera, et cetera.
Man, I have never heard of anything like that. I would love to see this.
Wait. They said that to Dennis Sperling?
Dennis Sperling, that's correct, yeah.
Mike, that would make sense why he tried to hijack the whole Manosphere 3.0 shit. Carry on.
So so like a cease and desist.
No, like more like not just a text saying that they don't accept him as a member, etc. They said that he's creating, because what happened was Dennis blew spot on the lovely ladies going down to Jamaica to get piped, and then a lot since the 70s, like he had
but that's not Manosphere content though. That's not Manosphere content.
No, what I mean was that was not Manosphere content. You're right, but he, for a long time, Dennis participated as a member of the Manosphere. So when they said that to send the text, he got online and said, "Okay, well, I accept the text. I'm no longer a member of the Black Manosphere." And when they sent him
that's not true. He left because there's nothing else to leverage out of this space after he got his numbers up. Everybody does it.
No,
That's
no,
not
no,
a letter.
no. That's not
I can
what
guarantee
we're.
you that that's not a letter. That there's not a letter
Well, the
sent by
text.
O'Shea, Angry Man, or Obsidian. Doesn't send letters to people.
Yeah,
That's not how that works.
I'm not saying I said the letter. I'm the one who said that, but it was really part
Yeah.
of a text.
Yeah.
A text, a long drawn out text, which it
Mhm.
feels like a letter because it's so long drawn out.
Mhm.
But and if you want, you can ask Dennis for the
No, that's all
screenshot.
right. Yeah, it's okay.
No, Black Ronin. So what brought you over to the Black
Yeah.
Brain Trust is what I got a
Okay.
question for.
Yeah.
One, I appreciate the dialogue. I've always been shadowing
Okay.
the backdrop, and I always prefer like the dialogue having, and I just decided just now, you know what, maybe I should just get up here and participate in the dialogue and stop, really just ghosting. I mean, I
That's
go
what's up.
look at
Respect.
You know, from a customer service perspective, right? And that's kind of like the topic of the day. You're one of the people that I'm talking about, right? In terms of we have people who watch us that don't say anything and they enjoy the content because I see the emails, I see the DMs and stuff like that. And the people who have a problem with us don't have a problem with the effery that's going on elsewhere. And it's like,
I disagree.
oh, really?
On the end part, that I don't have a problem. I've left a lot of Black Manosphere content.
No, he wasn't saying
Separate.
you. He wasn't.
No,
saying you.
I'm saying no, I'm not saying me. I'm just
Okay.
saying that me. I'm saying me. I'm talking about 30 other guys that I'm a part of. Group I'm a part of. We left. We just
No, but I know Mike
just
was
left.
speaking. He was speaking specifically to something, right? That's why I was like,
Okay.
okay, not you,
Not me per se.
Mike. You want to You want to repeat what you just said, dude?
Oh, no. I was just saying that, Mad Black Ronin is one of the guys that I'm talking about, one of the subscribers that I'm talking about that looks at our content, doesn't say anything, but absorbs what we're saying. And then there's other people who don't like us and
There
they're
you
very
go.
vocal about the
Yes.
fact that we're even doing content. That the
That's what
Manosphere
I'm
would
saying.
be,
Not you.
yeah, the Manosphere would be so much better if the Black Brain Trust would just leave. Or, we can make the Black Brain Trust better. And it's like the Black Brain Trust is a nonprofit channel. We don't accept donations. And we've been clear about that since the inception of the channel. So we're not the same as these other channels who accept, donations and whatnot.
Our message is not financially incentivized. Let's just put it like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
We already
yeah,
got
that's
our
why
economics together. We already got our economics together. We don't need.
Yeah.
We don't need the fuckery fundraise, man.
And also you don't want to have people coming in who can go in there, super chat money in and start super chat money in to get wrenches or do whatever, and then come in and start speaking or throwing the conversations in some crazy ways because they're throwing some money at the channel. So we don't want to have any influences like that as well.
No, I understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who are Airbnb wrenches. They're paying
straight up.
Yeah, they're getting wrenches like it's an Airbnb, man. They're kind of laying up with the toolie. So what changes would you like to see on the Black Brain Trust, Mad Black Ronin? What changes would you like to see?
I would like to see on you form your own alternative. You have the people. I would, that's what I was telling Alvin Holden over at Simple Shit TV, where I'm a pundit at, and as well as Dennis. And we're saying that we really need to have a organized alternative where we know who's a member of our space and who's not a member of our space. That's the problem with the Black Manosphere. Why I left a year ago was anyone could get up here and say they're a member of the Black Manosphere and then just cut up and do whatever they want.
Would you agree? Would you agree that there's various spheres within space now? You notice, like, right, like this, we have we've acclimated this platform here, right? This is Manosphere 3.0. There's an entire manifesto, right, that reflects what this channel espouses. and there's over what, Mike, 800 videos? Are we over 800 yet? Total?
I think it's somewhere around there, but
Right around there,
but
right
I think the
only way, Mike, just the point I wanted to make here is that, like, you know, because I was just on Truth As I Know It's live stream a little while ago, and I was saying this to another person. I'm like, you know, what you can't do is, because you can't make like presumptions about, let's just say, the entirety of a space that contains Black men, right? And then make a presumption on the interest of the collective of Black men. If you haven't scraped around, you can say, from my observation, a lot of the channels that I've encountered, yes, aren't really productivity based, don't really kind of delve into other things. You can say that, right? But to then say that the space as a whole, I walked away from it, and then it's kind of like, well, what did you? So you walked away from the women content. Did you? I know you didn't walk away from this, right?
No, he didn't walk away from it.
Foolish to walk away from the type of information we put out.
No,
What I mean is that once I walked away was the fact that I was watching the channel, because this is part of the channels I was on. I was also on, I think, Obsidian.
There's your problem.
Okay, arguing with bitches. Who else?
Arguing. Yeah, it's really it's the constant really arguing.
No, who else though?
No, but who else? Who else? Where else you go?
I was also on I don't know if you remember this channel, but it's called Kyriaki Jones.
Kyriaki? I remember him.
No. Kyriaki
Jones. I remember him.
Actually, he walked away himself. Like, he also walked away himself.
I remember him.
He's married. He has a family. I mean, no, Dr. Jones is doing fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's perfectly doing fine. He's doing fine.
Yeah.
I remember him. Okay, productive, man. What other channels?
Who else? Yeah, who else?
It's been a while since I'm sorry. I have to really sit and think about all the channels I stopped. No, I'm just being honest.
Okay. So just for observation, outside observation, you mentioned Curiosity. We all know who he is, and we understand that guy holds a high position. He's got a family to raise and all that. YouTube was just something that he did, right? So we all understand his situation. Okay, Obsidian, come on. Obsidian.
No, well, I don't want to focus on the other content.
Okay,
what I'm actually gathering from Mad Black Roning is that he's still detoxing from what he came from, and so and so that's why it's having a hard time kind of remembering a lot of these things, because it's pretty traumatic being in this space now. 2.0 was a very traumatic experience.
Yeah, man, it's kind of like being underwater.
Goddamn.
Nitrogen. It's kind of like being underwater and nitrogen builds up in your blood, and you have to have a certain type of time to decompress before you can actually run along back to the real world. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's true, because if you come up too fast, you'll explode.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the dialogues being had on this channel, and because of the tech, from the understanding everything you talk about, I talk about on back chats on Telegram and with my guys. We have tech works, cybersecurity. We talk cybersecurity. We talk about future warfare, political dissonance happening across the country. We knew Sudan was going to blow up 2 years ago. Now we're watching it blow up in front of us. We knew it was going to blow up.
Do you share our channel? Do you share our channel with your circle?
Yes. Okay. Anytime we have a discussion, I just pull up and drop a video and say they talk on the similar things that we're talking about, or we do in our spaces. My space is really mostly focused on crypto investments and cyber security investments, futurists and predicting the future, and investments in that. What's going to be going down in the permanent underclass that we're about to see. I was trying to get Dennis Sperling. He had a discussion the other night about when we step over the dead bodies of the community, and I wanted to get up there, but I was too tired to get up there and tell them that yes, we're going to have to, because people made so much bad decisions that the permanent underclass is going to rise up. And they're going to start looking for guys like you, Dennis, a 8-figure guy, to save them. And if you can't save them, all of them, then they'll take from you and your sons. So,
Okay, well, I got a question. All right,
Mhm.
I got a question.
Hmm.
Is it possible that you can fully stay away from the arguing with women content, like in its totality?
I
Is it possible?
really,
I'm just asking a question.
okay, you know what? That's a good question. For me, speaking of myself, I stay away from it. It really does take a physical toll on you, like just hearing the stupidity. It really
But you're on Dennis
does
Furler's
take.
show, though, right?
I'm on Dennis Furler's show, and I don't watch when he does argue with women. I'm gonna be honest, I don't.
That's in that most of the time, though.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
what this guy
No, MOT. No, that's not all the time. That's
No,
not all the
no,
time, especially
all
when
right.
I'm on there. Especially when I'm on there.
Yeah, I think you're really hitting on something that I kind of knew was going on behind the scenes, but people aren't really coming to the forefront. And that's kind of why we created the Black Brain Trust, is so that we can have these deeper level discussions that weren't being had before. Because like you said, you're having it in Telegram, but if you go through the Black Manosphere, you don't see other channels really having these sort of deep dive conversations. And there's no knock to other content creators. I'm just saying that
You don't see it.
as Black men, we're not actually punching above our weight intellectually, right? We're spending a lot of time spinning our wheels, having conversations about things that don't amount to anything at the end of the day. And we're being lambasted for this. I just saw it. I was just over in Truth As I Know It's chatting.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Really?
It doesn't
Mike,
make
really?
any sense to me. No, it does not
Whoa.
make any sense to me to
Whoa.
attack the Black Brain Trust at all.
Wait, Mike. You were over in Truth As I Know It's what happened?
Yeah, I saw some, some banter and some commentary about the Black Brain Trust. And it was like, why are we talking? Why is that the focus
for real?
of discussion? And
So that's why you fired this one up. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I've been seeing it the last few days, but today was like the final straw for me.
Well, no, it makes sense. Now I know what this is about. Okay, you got it. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, and so it's a lot of critique about the Black Brain Trust would do better if Mike V didn't read the articles, if you would just do this, if you would just do that.
Complex wasn't so abrasive.
Yeah, there's a lot of
MOT
critique.
Just let people live. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all this critique, but when you go to these other channels, I see those guys at those same other channels, making it rain with the super chats, and it's like, well, wait a second here. How is it possible you support, you're financially supporting the degradation of the space, but when it comes to us, we don't ask for any money, no super chats, no cash apps, no Venmo, no Zeal, right? And you have a problem with us. But what's the problem?
Control flight into terrain. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They want to super chat the plane into the ground rather than let it land at its destination. That's all.
I've also noticed it like this. Prime example, what's the big thing that everyone calls the passport bros? Tricks, right?
Okay.
And what's the major thing that you just mentioned that a lot of dudes do in a lot of these channels that promote, the foolishness?
Trick.
They trick, right? I just dropped a $50 super chat, literally just to get their comment read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? That's literally all the super chat really is for. Which many people will do for $0 if you just type in the chat, like over here. Right?
Yeah, right. No, real talk. Yeah.
Yeah, and just imagine if they took those super chats and turned them into life insurance.
Oh man!
Imagine, Alonzo. Imagine.
Right? Imagine if Black men took their financial capabilities in this space and created a political affair, a super PAC or a mini PAC for that matter, right? And so we're not. That's what I'm saying. We're not actually punching above our weight intellectually. We're not punching above our weight politically.
We ain't even pocket watching. We're not pocket watching either.
Yeah, and we're not punching above our weight geopolitically. We're just not doing any of these type of things. But people are holding on to this idea that the Manosphere is going mainstream. How are you going mainstream when you got a problem with the Black Brain Trust? How is that logical? Make it make sense to me.
It makes absolutely no sense because we need thinkers.
Yeah.
We need thinkers, but at the same time, we need to. I was always saying this. I remember saying this 2 years ago, on a panel. I think it was chaotic or panel or whatever. And I said that until we organize, all we're doing is spinning our wheels.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back. So I was having a conversation, ironically enough, I brought on a panel yesterday with a friend of mine who was used to be a pickup artist. And one of the things he had mentioned that he noticed as an outsider looking into the Black Manosphere, as he's new to this, is a couple of things that he noticed complaints. One of the big ones is the investment from like Goldman Sachs into Black women, whereas it could be into Black men. And he said, collectively as Black men, we need to take this L because there's not enough promotion of things like the Black Brain Trust. He's not aware of us yet, but he was saying there's not enough promotion of things like this. Whereas, and he asked me, as a collective, would you invest in Black men, Alonzo? And I had to say, as a collective, no, right? There's pockets. Yes, pretty much everybody over here at the Black Brain Trust, we would all, collectively invest in each other. But Black men as a whole, when it seems like you said, they think what the Manosphere is as it's assembled, right now is going to go mainstream, wouldn't be a good investment. I'm pretty sure we could all agree on that.
Absolutely.
Well, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I agree.
I would say the only thing to that, Zoe, is that when we talk about this particular area of YouTube, there's a concerted effort to kind of tamper down, right, channels that really do house that type of information, right? There's a record of this and it's documented. And this is one of the fundamental issues that we're having here. Like, you can't get out here and gaslight and talk about the issues and what have you, and then, shun the channels that actually provide new age solutions to said problem. This is a fundamental, ideological battle, right, that we're kind of waging in this digital space. And so, as Mike said, a lot of people would just wish we would go away, right? Conversely, I can say I wish you guys would go away, right? But see, neither one of us are going to, right? See, so it looks as if we're going to have a battle of ideals and wills.
But that's good for democracy, right?
Well,
we're not trying to stop.
It's predicated upon, Mike.
Yeah, and we're not trying to.
Come on, let's talk about it. Let's go.
And we're not trying to take away anybody else's ability to create content. The thing here is, let's put all of the issues on the table. Let's go through the information. You bring your sources, I bring my sources. We bring our sources, and let's go through all the information.
Mike, we do it every live stream.
For the last 5 years, we've been doing this.
We put the docket in there. We provide the link. Come on.
Yeah, and
yeah, but
you Negroes don't read. Mike. But those Negroes don't read, man.
You think?
They don't read. They don't read, man. They really don't.
Is that the only problem?
And you know what I mean? So it's one of the main ones, MOTs. I mean, it's horrible, man. It's horrible. There's some of the stuff I read, and then when you said to me, this is why I got up on you. When you said that, they have a problem with you sourcing things. I've been looking for channels that source things. That's why I mess with Medium Man, because at least he sourced things. He breaks it down to you with numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I'm not saying I'm a mathematician, but I like seeing numbers. And I like when you drop links, and I could just click on it myself and then go look and be like, oh damn, I didn't read people like that. You know what I mean? Like I like thinking. And
we affirm Black men.
That's a fact.
Throughout
That's a fact.
through and through. We affirm Black men. Every week we cover space and technology or some other topic where we affirm Black men, Black boys, and you go to these other channels.
Who's doing what in those venues?
Yeah, and how the economy is impacting, Black startups and Black businesses and things like that, and translate that into how it impacts Black men at the end of the day. You got these other, muckety mucks who got something to say about what we're doing, and I'm like, okay, so where's the problem?
But this is the crazy thing, Mike. Just what you're saying. You have these people here. I see people who come in to these chat rooms, pop off, say they haven't read anything or looked at any information or any facts in years. They've been in this space a couple of years, haven't read anything. And they're sitting here popping off, getting on panels, trolling and talking crazy, acting like they're making sense. And you sit back and look at this and say, where are these guys going? What are they ultimately looking to achieve? So that's why I sit back and I laugh at a lot of this stuff and sit down and say, wow, what is really going on here? No one's learning anything, but yet when you stick to the facts and you get into it, these people have a problem with that. So Black Ronin, there is an issue with some channels actually coming up with having facts. Some people don't like that. They'd rather push certain narratives and don't like that.
And that's the problem. I could sit here and say to someone, hey, listen, man, these broads killed 20 billion babies the last 50 years, and this is a major issue. And they'll be like, well, what's the facts? I'll drop them the facts. Oh, that's the CDC. That's the government. Like, that's the government.
Yeah, anti-government.
Yeah. And I'm like, but you participate in the government when you pay taxes. So, and I'll break it down how they get the numbers, or how they get the numbers then. Well, data's collected at the hospitals, at the clinics, at the abortion clinics, at the data's collected everywhere.
If you have to explain that,
I break it down to them.
If you have to explain that, can you kind of understand maybe the state of the individual you just may be speaking to?
Yeah.
No, we don't really need to go. We don't really need to go there.
No,
it's depressing.
No, because the thing here is, Mad Black Ronin, the anti-intellectual piece is a strategy used to disrupt the conversation, or disrupt you for that matter, from ever progressing it forward, right? Because in their mind, disagreeing with you is a position to take without actually having to provide any substance behind it.
And Mike, that's all I was insinuating. That's literally what I was insinuating. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so what's happening in the Manosphere is that these guys don't see the Manosphere as a place that we own, right? And we don't physically own, the lines of code from YouTube, but it's a social space where you come in here to engage and you're being respectful. You hear somebody like Rael, he'll come on the panel and say, peace to the panel, peace to the chat, because he's showing decorum as he comes in, right? Yes. And so I think what happened here is that some of these guys did not really grow up around Black people, is what I'm kind of thinking, is that they didn't really grow up around Black men, right? That closest thing they may have had is maybe somebody they went to school with, but in terms of actually being socially around Black men 24/7, a good portion of their life, they never really had that. Sometimes some of these guys may be the only child or something like that, and they come in here, and if they're not the center of attention, that's where all the the angst comes from, I think.
I have to agree, because I'm my background, I'm Haitian by heritage, and but born in America, and so I've been around nothing but men who come in, they sit, they talk about politics, they talk about money, they talk about sometimes they'll throw a quick tip on how to do something, or where to go to make some money. And there's always a level of discourse about life, the things that matter. You know what I mean? The women are the one who sit back and talk about what's going on television and this and that, or if they're not talking about stuff that go on television, they talk about, the children, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I was talking to this teacher, you know what I mean? But the men were always the one, discussing the things that, the business
Politics.
law and things in politics. Yeah, exactly. And so to me, so I was always hip growing up on that. And even now, I watch probably 8 different news channels because I don't want to get my information from one place. I watch Fox, and when I tell people I watch Fox News, I watch NBC. I watch all these places. I'll watch international. I watch what We On News, the Indian channel.
Yeah,
I'll
Indian.
Watch, yeah, We On. Yeah, the Indian channel. We On.
Yeah.
I watch Newsmax.
You watch
I want to
Bloomberg.
Yeah, I watch Bloomberg as well. I have it on my
okay.
my feed. I have it on my feed. And you know what's crazy? It's only 2 to 3 minutes, these clips I get. And I sit down, I'll watch a whole live stream of a newscast. And but most of the time it's 2 to 3. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, this is digestible information. And also you don't have to absorb or take that information, but you have to know what's being said. What's being said, so you can go and then people, what someone else did, said the truth is always in the middle. The truth is always in the middle. So I would say, like, listen, I don't take one information from one or the other. I just take what may interest me or what I'm thinking about, what I'm discussing, and then I'll go back and forth between different opposing views and look for the solution in between the middle. And so, or the truth between the middle. So, but what I see is people taking sides. They're playing like team. Either they're playing for a team, or they're sitting their asses down, not playing at all. And that's not how it's going to work. That's not going to work for you, bro.
I have a question for Ronan. Ronan, I have a question for you. Would you say that if you have some actual skin in the game, I'm saying like some business or some money, right? Doesn't that sort of change your perception or scope of how you perceive information and then what you do with it?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and so that's where we are, right? And I find it interesting. You call yourself, you say that you're Haitian. I think
got a lot of Haitian brothers here.
Well, not just Haitian, but we have a lot of people from the diaspora here. We have Nigerians, we have a couple of Kenyans and stuff like that. We have a variety of Black men around here who come from different backgrounds, but you're starting to see now, this hard mind of I'm, ADOS, I'm FBA, and I'm all mixed up together. But I got a problem with the alphabets. It's like they take these positions and it squeezes somebody like you out of the conversation, squeezes somebody like me out of the conversation, only so that they can dominate the conversation and bring nothing to the table all at the same time.
That's something I noticed a year ago. I was participating in one. It all started when I said flat out, oh, I'm the one who said this. I said, well, I'm Haitian, I'm descent, I wouldn't want reparations. What I mean by I didn't want it for myself because I'm not of this land. I'm only first generation American. And so I would want it to go to the people that have been here 400 years. For some reason, and this is with the cognitive dissonance and the ability not to listen. Because I said that, it was because I was 100% against reparations because I said that.
Ronan,
Ronan, you have a lot. You have a lot of pure ignorance. That really you have a lot of pure ignorance. We want to look at that even deeper. We wouldn't even be talking about reparations and even getting this if it wasn't for the Haitian Revolution, which actually was the death knell for slavery here in the West. In 1801, from 1794 to 1801. When that went down. That
my
was
ancestor.
Those ancestors. That was the death knell. We all came on the same boats. Some were dropped off in Haiti or what was called Hispaniola.
Haiti had a role in the American Revolution as well.
Of course they did. And you had Haitian rebels that came here and the whole thing. Nobody talks about that history. Okay. That came here. That deeply affected this country. So we're all in that together. But that's a whole nother piece.
No, that's not a discussion.
That a lot of people don't see. But to sit there and say that you said, are you against reparations and these kind of things? This is the kind of mindset But I'm saying this is the kind of mindset you run into some of these people here who are totally confused, who look to stay in these areas of separation to kind of keep people from working together. And the more I look at this now, the more suspicious, the deeply more suspicious I get from these people who talk
exactly.
Because they're really not truly talking about progress, and that's something that you have to really keep a close eye on. But I just wanted to bring that up. But anyway, go ahead.
No, I'm bringing this up because it also segues into political organization, social organization. You can't really build anything with guys who are always, trying to malign you based on whether or not you're for reparations. First of all, unless you can prove, because reparations is done by lineage, it's not done by race. It's done by lineage.
Right.
It can only be done by lineage. It can only be done by lineage. So to ask the question about whether or not, or to question your legitimacy on whether or not you support reparations, it's immaterial because it doesn't make any sense for you to have to answer a question about reparations when you're not a part of that, that political and social dynamic anyways. In this country.
Evanston, Illinois proves that.
Well, no, what I'm saying here is
what I'm saying when you say lineage,
his gripe with the gripe that they have with him, he already has a reparations conversation he's going to have with France, right? And so it's a litmus test. It's a litmus test to try to squeeze out people from the space. But 1.0 didn't have these issues. Thugtician was a Jamaican. You had a variety of brothers who came from the Caribbean. You had a variety of brothers who were from the continent. You never heard anybody claim to be an American descendant of a slave. You never heard anybody say that.
You never heard this ADOS, FBA, tether.
Mike, but it's done.
You never heard this shit, bro.
It's done for a specific reason.
Go ahead,
The
Emerson.
specific reason is to divide and squeeze out productive people in the actual conversation out of the conversation. They know the high amount of failure among the men here. So if they could keep squeezing out and keep dividing the pie, you keep squeezing out all of the productive people. Like that's what the ADOS FBA thing is about. It's trying to spot check your own race because they don't care if you're not serving quote unquote their purposes or their needs, or it's not going to be able to quote unquote give things to them that they think are owed to them. They don't want anything to do with you.
And also to make sure that nothing happens. Unfortunately, that's how I have to ultimately look at this at the end of the day, that nothing happens. Divide and conquer, keep things going that way. Yeah. That's what you get. Nothing.
And I was trying to form a pact between between Haiti and African Americans here, because I said that one, I truly believe there's a lot of intellectually creative African Americans in America. And I said to myself, they understand packaging, they understand putting a package together, and through that a business can be formed. I said we got the labor force of raw material in Haiti. If we can package that and bring it through an office here, maybe run by African Americans, we can literally start an economic boom. We can start economic business, and because what African Americans lack is raw material.
I used to think that way, Ronan. I used to think that way as well. That MLT's let me mute MLT. Yeah. I used to think that way as well. But based on the discourse that has happened the last, maybe the last 2 or 3 weeks about this Anglo-Saxon woman being the front runner and advocate for Black men and Black boys issues, man. I think a lot of these guys are completely out to lunch, to be quite honest with you.
I was going to say, because you would think that given, and this has been covered in past live streams that we've done on this channel, right? African Union, right? Meeting with delegates with the Caribbean Union, right? To establish
CARICOM.
trade, CARICOM, to establish trade channels there. You want to know who's out of the picture in this scenario here? You want to take a wild guess? Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
I know.
All right.
And that's, to me, it somewhat bothers me, but again, at the same time, it's like they're the ones who are doing this. They're the ones who are doing this themselves. And when I tried to put a pack together and work things out, all they cared about was petty peanuts. Peanuts, not the greater picture.
Mhm.
I said we got the labor, raw materials and labor on the ground in other country. All we need is the thinkers and the people who understand the Western
Well,
system of business, and
Mike
we can
had
we can work together.
Mike V actually he has Mike, what do we got to pull up with?
Say that one more time.
What do we have to pull up with? Because it's very simple. Like if we have collection of businesses, professionals, and a briefcase with a little bit of cash in it, you can make some shit happen. That's how everybody does it.
Well,
That's really how everybody does it,
yeah.
I mean,
to-
I'm being very simplistic with what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
being
to an extent that would make a lot of sense. But in this space, you really, based on what the conversations have been the last 2 or 3
Well,
weeks, right? It's kind of hard. You know, you have people advocating for like Nick Fuentes, like, well, you know,
No,
I wouldn't care if he was a racist. You know, I wouldn't care if he was a racist. You know, as long as he advocates for black men and boys. You know,
right.
It's really strange positions that
that.
people.
Why
Really,
why
yeah,
would
really
he?
strange.
Like
But
they keep looking
that's
for people to advocate for them. I'm like, no, listen, the only time I will ever seen a white person advocate is if they could get something out of it. And me being Haitian and Haitian history, every time a white person tried to come and advocate for us in history, they always want to take our gold. They always want to take something from us, or something physical from us. And we always put them back on a boat and kick them off back to where they came from, or kick them swift in the butt and get them out of the country. So to me, when I sit there and I look at African Americans, always all about advocating, like, yo, you really need to have a conversation with us Haitians, because we can tell you straight up, like, anytime they advocate for you, and you know what? And also Malcolm X even said it, be wary of these people. Be wary of these people that try to advocate for you, because you have to ask, what do they want?
Well, but Ronan, I would with that, what I would posit in response to that is that if you have financial, i.e., business interests, right, you advocate for yourself in that manner. So then, when you engage with people, you engage with people on strictly a commerce level. And see, when you deal with people on a commerce level, it's purely contract, this for that, quid pro quo, right? So what we have to do is formulate a mindset where we engage globally just like everybody else does, right? Because see, what they don't do is take these types of considerations when they understand that, well, you know, in this country, we don't produce this, so we need to go here to get this, right? There's no conversation about race and all that. The conversation is how much. Okay.
Yeah,
how much? Yeah.
No.
We need to get to that point, right? To where we
How much or how many followers do you have?
Wait, say that again, Zoe. Go ahead.
How much or how many followers do you have?
With regards to?
When it comes to combining efforts to actually work through a lot of these spaces.
No, you know, I think he's saying that there's the clout chase is predicated on that. Yeah, and I agree with that. But let me ask this question. Let me answer this question from the chat, you know, for customer service purposes.
Okay.
Random question from the peanut gallery. If reparations doesn't mean anything to you, then why? It doesn't. It's not about. It's not about whether or not reparations means anything. I'm saying the question is immaterial to a person that's not going to, that doesn't have any stake in it. They're not stakeholders, right? And so it doesn't matter what their position is. It doesn't mean anything. You know, your gripe is with
the Jews getting theirs.
Well, the gripe is with the federal government, and not necessarily not just federal, but the state government as well. Everybody who participated in the enterprising of slavery from the exploitation of labor and supply chain logistics. That's where the gripe is, right? And the idea is to nail down, you know, the state and federal governments and institutions that were involved in the exploitation of this egregious human rights violation. Let me answer this other question.
Okay, go ahead.
Question from a half ADOS, half Haitian. If reparations doesn't mean anything to you, then why openly oppose it? Just say for it and move on to more constructive conversation, more constructive discussion. I don't think that's what Ronan was saying, though. I think
no. See, this is what I'm talking about. They don't listen. I said,
wait, hold on. Saying that it doesn't mean anything to him does not mean that he's dismissing the claim for it. he's saying that it doesn't apply to him.
Exactly. Exactly. I said doesn't apply to me. Doesn't mean I don't support the ADOS men and women getting it. It's like it's like the people know. Listen, they don't.
Man, come on, dude. That's what I mean, bro. It's like, come on, we can be from where we're at and have these nuanced conversations, and we shouldn't get like basic shit twisted. I understand clearly what he was saying.
Yeah,
because Mike said, you know what? You have a claim for reparations in your homeland. See, did you catch that part?
Yeah.
Yes. But you know, and the reason I am for the ADOS men and women getting it is because when you get yours, you can assist us
thank you
with France.
Thank you. Let's go.
Like they don't listen. It's like they don't listen. Like damn, man. It's like when I want you to get it, because once you get it, once a major power gives reparations to Black people, then we can pivot and say you need to give back that 90 million,
thank you. Oh my God.
Back to Haiti.
Thank you. Legal precedent. Let's
straight
go.
Up. It's it's really not that hard to figure out why I said what I said, and but the only thing they heard was I'm not for it. When it's not the case, I'm for you getting it. I can't get it because I'm not from, my lineage does not start with America. My lineage starts in Haiti, and I want Haiti to get it.
Well, that was not difficult on my end to understand, fam.
And the thing here is, reparations just can't be a one-off sort of a one-prong attack. It has to be a multi-prong attack where everybody who is entitled to reparations, not just in America, but in the Caribbean, in Latin America, in South America, in Africa, especially in Asia, in the Middle East, everybody has to come to the table and say, these are our demands. Because see, I talk about this a lot. If one Black man tries to go to the continent and do business, they can easily ignore him. But when 100 Black men show up, then it's a different conversation. And so a lot of these guys don't understand the numbers. You need numbers. And if you don't have the numbers and you don't have a political case to make, your whole entire logic goes out the window. And
Mike, and that's what I was talking. That's what I was talking to right there, Mike. That's what I was talking to.
And that's the bottom line, Mike. The name of the game is because if you come at this thing collectively from a larger number perspective, the chances of you actually achieving your goal is a lot greater. But see, this is what a lot of people don't want to talk about, because the reparations issue is is an African in the diaspora Western world phenomenon. This is the factor that addresses us all, because how we got to the West throughout the Caribbean, throughout Brazil, South America and so forth, and then coming to the United States, we all came on the same ships by the same companies, by the same countries. So it's the same game. That's what they want to stop. That's what they want to try to stop. But anyway, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I know for a fact that we have African American descendant slaves that the descendants that are now in Haiti. They came around 1864. Names like Davis, Brady, and Jones are in Haiti, and they stayed because what happened was we ferried them to African American slaves to Puerto Rico and Haiti and Jamaica. So we're really, in many ways, one people. I mean, even my last name isn't really French. It's Dutch or German. So to me, it's like, so a majority of names in Haiti are French. So I have a non-French last name. I've looked it up. I've tried to trace it back all through France. It doesn't exist there. But then when I looked, it's just in Netherlands. It's just in Holland, in Netherlands and other Finnish state, neighboring countries. So
Nordic
to me,
state.
Nordic state.
Listen, my weightlifting partner. My weightlifting partner. Okay. Patrice Thomas. Okay, I call him Patrick. He is Haitian. His last name is Thomas, from Haiti, Port-au-Prince. Okay. What's that tell you? We talk about this all the time. Go ahead. Showing how on the money you are with your point. But go anyway. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
it just shows that we're really one people. That's one of the reasons I believe that why we wanted to come up here was because we had the men and women who want to come here and fight the fight was because we know we have kin up here.
Mm.
You know what I mean? We have kin up here, so we need to come. When Frederick Douglass came to us and said, "Hey, we need you to come, step forward." You know, those thousands of men that came up here from Haiti volunteered.
Yep.
They volunteered.
Yep.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, you know, they came through Savannah and then they tore through Georgia. They tore through Georgia. And then when they got to New Orleans, they participated in getting in acting as security, a military security force to get those from New Orleans who were freed from slavery to go anywhere they wanted. And they took them up to what now is known as Illinois, what would become later Chicago.
Illinois. Yep.
That's exactly correct. And you had black
what's his
men
name?
that area
What's his name? Who
living freely.
founded DuSable, the Haitian brother. He's the one who founded Chicago.
Yeah. So that is true, and that's why you had blacks in, quite frankly, in New Orleans who were living free. Some were living free in areas, living free, but they were supposed to be slavery. They were living free. Those rebels, and many of them came from Haiti. Were there.
The whole point to this,
change your whole game. I mean, the Louisiana Purchase came from there. I mean, you know, Louisiana Purchase.
That's why I don't.
The whole point to this, though, is that our bonds actually run deeper than what this sort of and I'm just going to say agent-led conversation to talk about ADOS this, FBA this, Tether this, and da 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 da. These are separation mechanisms. When you dig into the real facts, right, you'll find that our histories are intrinsically intertwined in all actuality.
It's things that are already supposed to be understood by now, right? There's no reason to go back to zero. So what they do is because you have to understand now, if he went on to a political platform and said this in front of like a totally conservative audience, you have all the legitimate complaint in the world, but this right here, it's not a legitimate complaint. There's no reason to drag the whole discussion off the rails because of something somebody thought that they said. Man. So.
No, it's just that you can't do business with people who you know. I find it very hard to believe that anybody in this space who thinks this way is actually doing any credible business at all. There's no way you're doing business because the lack of intellectual discourse that I hear on these other panels, it makes it difficult for me to believe. It
doesn't suggest it.
Yeah, to believe that these guys are actually doing business at that level. And so the marginalization of the Black Brain Trust, you know, only further proves the point that there are a lot of people who can't tolerate opposition, you know, especially respectful opposition. When we do these Black political talks on Tuesdays or whatever the day is that we do it, and you hear me taking down conservatives, I'm not taking down the person, I'm taking down the argument, okay? I'm taking the argument, I'm examining everything that's in it, and then I'm challenging those positions that are being held in it. But some people will tell me that, well, you know what, Mike V doesn't articulate himself very well. I'm sorry.
Okay, Mike, I was trying not to stop you.
Yeah,
but bro, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry because I think it's been abundantly clear. The only thing that we've asked for, the only thing. See, truth be told, you guys, the Brain Trust is made up of people of different political stripes, but we understand politics. That's the reason why we can coalesce and come together. You see, so the question that Mike V always asks, the question that MOT always asks, the question that Nagone 11 always asks, what are your policies? Because see, here's the thing, right? Policies underlie your political philosophy, or at least it should. You should at least be able to give us a politician or two who's pushing for the things that you're speaking for. I'm just saying.
Well, that's the other problem, right? That we're accused. The Black Brain Trust is accused, and more specifically, Mike V is being accused.
There you go.
Of trying to get black men to vote Democrat. Okay. And I don't care who you vote for. I don't care which side you're on, as long as you take a side and you stand for something on that side. But what's happening in the manosphere in recent time, and especially the last political cycle, is that guys don't want to take a side, and the position they're trying to stand on is very shaky.
Or Mike, they take a side, i.e. conservatism, no problem with that, right? No problem with that.
Right.
But then when we ask for the counter policy so that we can get an understanding, I'm a registered independent, but I got to tell you right now, right? If I have to vote my interests, i.e. business, you already know where it goes. However, if there was an opposing policy that somebody can inform me about, right, I'll consider it. All we're asking is, what are the policies? Like, okay, we understand the gripes, we understand the concerns, we understand the problem. We all kind of can coalesce around that. But then when we get to the solution side, and then we get into the political aspect of exercising and getting these solutions implemented, who is actually trying to do what?
That's the challenge, right? And so I think a lot of black men think that opposing what they consider to be the left, and what they consider to be Democrat, they think that taking an oppositional position to the party and the philosophy of the demographic gives them some kind of credibility. And I'm saying, if you take that position, you have to show an alternative to what you're in opposition to. You don't like, for example, you don't like Barack Obama, right? I remember back in the Manosphere 1.0, there was a lot of back and forth about whether or not guys should support Barack Obama, and
that was a thing back then.
Well, in 1.0, that was the political discourse, because it was a phenomenal thing that had never happened in U.S. history, right? And so people were questioning the legitimacy of him and whether or not we should actually get behind him. But at the end of the day, the conversation was respectful. I think what has happened today is that there are a lot of black men who admire white men's place within society and want to get as close as possible via proximity to those men. And for us, I don't really care to share that sort of space with them. And the manosphere, and why would you want to come to a black manosphere only to tote the lines of those men?
Mike,
seems like an oxymoron.
Mike, you just took the words out of my mouth. Go ahead.
Yeah, it just seems like an oxymoron, because what exactly are you hoping to gain from aligning yourself with Mitch McConnell and Tom Cotton and Matt Gaetz and those guys in regards to black men? Because we just saw 2 black men get thrown out of office in Tennessee. Another young black male get his head almost clean blown off his shoulders, and then another bullet pumped into his chest. And we also are seeing the overthrow of many black people in elected positions, whether at the school board, or we can go down to Jackson, Mississippi, and see, the disenfranchisement that white conservatives are opposing to, the black Democrats in Jackson. It's kind of hard to suggest that black men should align themselves with those type of people in this space. It makes no sense, right? And you're trying to say, like, well, I want traditional families. You yourself don't even have a traditional family. You're not even married to a conservative woman. Like, all of these positions that they take make absolutely no sense, but that's the state of politics within the black manosphere.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it comes off as a lot of griping. And then when we get to the policy talk, it's crickets. It's crickets.
Yeah, go ahead, Monty. Man of Tomorrow, go ahead.
Is he there?
All right, so Yeah. So the
Okay,
problem
there it
is that all these things are centered around complaints about women. Like 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 they want less consequences from dealing with liberal women.
Yeah.
They want to be installed as the head, artificial head of household by the government. The same people who don't want government interference want
Yeah.
the entire government to run your entire household.
All you got to do, MOT, is file that on your taxes, bro.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they don't want any consequences, and they want the government to stand in the way of any
Oh,
consequences
okay.
of any actions of them dealing with those women. And it's like, show me a conservative that has conservative policies in mind and not and because they want to hurt black women. That's the whole point here. They want to hurt them in a way, and they rather be suicide bombers. They really take down anything as long as they have the perceived notion
But
that women are benefiting.
but the,
Mhm.
I
No,
was gonna
no.
say, MOT, just to that point, to go then to Ronan, we can then understand why certain interests that he has, he can kind of say, okay, listen, I need to step back from this, right? There's certain things that apply, certain things that don't. Things like, for example, this sort of ADOS relationship-based whatever, right? There's that whole thing, right? Not really sure where he falls into the picture and all of that, right? Reparations, not really sure he falls into the picture of all that. However, when we got to the point where it was like, how do we all work together? And he said, well, listen, it's not for me, but it's for you. If you get it, I benefit. Right. You
Mhm.
see, what we need to do is kind of move up into that sphere of conversation, which we've always done. I think the sphere in and of itself, because it's comprised of brothers from the diaspora. It really is. There's British brothers here. There's brothers from the continent here, right? There's British brothers from the Caribbean here. We
Mhm.
got ADOS brothers, and then we got brothers who are I'll call them ADOS because they were born and raised here, right? So they grew up in Black culture, but let's just say their parentage is from elsewhere, right? Mike used to get a lot of shit about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to they're going to throw that at me, but you know what I really want to touch on here is that you just had a white conservative in Tennessee get thrown out or have to resign
Over that bullshit.
because he was, you know, engaging in sexual, exploitations and harassment of these two interns. Okay. So all this conservative talk about, you know, traditional families, they themselves don't even believe in that. Okay. They themselves don't believe in that. And you got black
in
men,
practice, bro.
you got black men latching on to something that they themselves don't even practice themselves. Right. And so trying to create this litmus test for like, you know, or I believe in traditional families. Okay, so why you ain't marrying these women then? Where's all these conservative women? How come all of these black conservative women, from Candace Owens to and name your Fox News black woman anchor or co-host, they're all married to white men. You ever thought about that? You ever thought about why black conservative? Hold on, complex. You ever thought about why black conservative women don't marry black men? Why is that? And why are so many black men who claim to be conservative can't seem to find a wife? What's the problem here? The common denominator is that there are a lot of guys in here who are using conservatism as cosplay for a political position that they don't even understand. It's on shaky ground. And so if you're so conservative, why don't you move to Jackson or to Mississippi as a whole? Right? No, you don't have any smoke for Brett Favre, no smoke for Matt Gaetz and trafficking, underage females and stuff like that. All of these guys claim to be conservative, but none of these guys can actually prove any level of conservatism at all.
No, that was MOT, man. Let him get in.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, it's reductionist conversation. It's argumentum ad nauseum. Need to look up the definition of that, because what they want to do is they want to make failed men's actual lack of success the actual focal point of the entire space, and that's just not why we're here. That's why they're here, and that's where they're stuck at. But that's not what we're stuck at. Like we don't have a liberal woman problem.
Yeah,
the liberal woman problem is their problem specifically, and you have to understand that once you separate from people who have women-based problems who cannot handle those type of issues, things can be able to move along just fine. But you have to move these people out of the conversation, like like the group that I'm part of, offline. You started having all this wanting to be a player and all. Yeah, man, out the group, man. Nobody has time for that. People got something to lose here, and we don't have time with bringing Me Too allegations with the people within our. We ain't got time for that.
Mm-hmm.
We're past all that. We're trying to protect what we have. We're not trying to share what we have with interlopers and outsiders. And they cannot act in such a restricted format because their whole basis is based on doing whatever they want.
Yeah, definitely. They want Michelle Obama with a sleeve tattoo, lashes, lace front, and long nails, man. That's what they want. That's what they want. They want Michelle Obama like that, man. And so,
or twerking on her head, beachfront.
Well, not even that, man. Just the image of Michelle Obama with a lace front and some lashes, man, and the long nails, the sleeve tattoo, the ankle tattoo. That's what they want, man. And these guys just don't want to admit it. They want liberal women, but they don't want to, accept the conditions that come with it. Let me go to Citizen Lou because I haven't seen him here before, man. Customer service complaint. Do you have one?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
What's good with it, Lou?
What's going on, Lou?
Citizen Lou.
What's going on? Yeah, man. Yeah,
Citizen
it's funny
Lou,
you say
up?
that.
What's
going
up?
on, man? Yeah, I've been kind of going. So I had to stream the other day, and they called me an orphan child of the Black Brain Trust. So I was like, oh, okay, well.
Is that
wait? How did they do that when you did a stream about niggas with daughters?
I heard that. I
you saw that stream?
I saw that stream.
How's that possible?
I was laughing. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, when they had the shotguns showing it, yeah, the prom days. Yeah, that's crazy. But no, it's what I was gonna say, man. We were talking about the Black conservative thing, and I just over the last like 3 or 4 years, I mean, I gotta agree, man. I mean, it's just too much. And I was victim. I contributed to it too. It was a lot of political apathy. Being from Mississippi, you kind of see.
You're people. From Mississippi? Wait a second. You're from Mississippi?
Well, yeah, I'm from MOT.
Yeah, I'm from Meridian.
Okay.
Yeah, so just seeing a lot of see Black people organize in Mississippi. You don't really see anything change because it's a huge red state. So you just kind of get a lot of political apathy just being in Mississippi. But then when you kind of like, just kind of noticing the lay of the land, you just kind of start seeing like the Black conservative, the Black Republic, all that, everything on the Republican side, just totally against anything that can help people out. And it's just like, you just got to kind of look at it. And I kind of agree, like the space, it does have like a conservative element to it. And the only reason why it seemed like it's just to go at, I remember it was a Bernard Riley stream, and this dude, he got on there and he dropped the mic. He said, it seemed like the only time Black conservatives rally against anything is against Black women. They don't stand up to white men. They don't stand up to classism, racism, fascism, vote. I mean, it's like the only thing is Black women. And you got to wait for Black women to do something crazy, talk about it, and see, this the leftist policies. Like, bro, I don't care about that, man. I care about, I want public transportation. I want speed rails.
Citizen Lou,
go ahead, bro.
Hey Lou, quick question. Can you tell me or anybody that's here what the conservative position is on STEM?
You mean like STEM degrees?
STEM entirely.
Just STEM entirely? I don't know. I guess it's the best type of degree to get. That's probably the only conservative position that I've heard from. Just it's better than a liberal arts degree.
No. I'm talking about in terms of like bill appropriation, things like that, policy, right?
Oh, absolutely nothing.
Right, because if you were to like kind of just analyze the landscape globally speaking, I don't know if you guys know this, but we are in an AI arms race, right? So I'm saying, when we really talk about what is pertinent and what's important at this point, like, do you ever really hear what their plans are?
Well, anytime anything technological comes in front of like Republicans and they have like these congressional hearings, they just get embarrassed. I mean, every time they have no concept at all. Like when they did it with the social media, they're doing it now with TikTok. AI is probably gonna be next.
Yeah,
on the agenda.
I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead, Ronan.
No, I'm good. Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry to cut you off if I did. I agree. There's one side the problem I have with the old Republicans is that they really don't. They're not really savvy about what's going on. You know, when it comes to AI, to technology, all they know is that they're being railroaded out of tech spaces. But you don't understand, like there are so many startups starting right now that may be conservative, and you don't even participate in supporting them. So like I was talking to listen to Daily Wire. I was looking to the gripe with Crowder about Daily Wire trying to do business with which is I think I would say center right, Daily Wire, and they and he doesn't even understand. Daily Wire has no support like the way that progressive tech companies have. They get no political action or financial support from the right, but you from the left businesses like Facebook and stuff are always getting back.
Facebook, Google,
FTX was backed by left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you know,
I think
let's
because
stay out of FTX too. Yeah,
well,
let's stay out of there.
I think that tech in general is more of a leftist paradigm because most of your institutions, your academic institutions that breed a lot of your tech talent are leftist institutions themselves.
Mike, wait a minute, because I could have swore this channel specifically heard an argument from a one hood conservative about the need to push Black boys into tech, right? I heard this. So just throwing the question out, what are you doing for that? I think we've covered this ad nauseum, Mike, or am I getting it screwed up?
No, I think you're right. I wanted to go to MOT because we
go ahead. No, I just wanted to put this out here. Like when we talk about this, like don't sit up here and and for those listening in the clouds or whoever, don't gaslight it, because I'm just saying, dude,
yeah,
we've covered it to the standpoint where it's like, okay, is there something else that's being brought to the table from your political perspective? Please let us know, inform us.
Yeah, go ahead, MOT.
Citizen Lou, can you believe that we had the exact same conversation that you tried to have with that individual on your panel 5 years ago? And that guy did not open up a singular book to increase his understanding on how anything worked and ask you all the same questions from the same particular angle.
Wait, who are you talking about?
The guy you just brought up.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. So it's like there is no movement. Like the whole point is to shut down progress. That's the whole point here. Is to shut down progress, is to make everything about women so that way nothing works. Because there is no end to the argument with women. They already have more power than you. You can't get with them and they don't want you. There's no singular concentration on the actual woman that's going to get you anywhere close to her. So what I say, dude, you just have to separate from people who cannot really comport themselves without the women talk. Problem solved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Citizen Lou.
I'm with you on that. That's why I kind of fell back. After the election, I fell back from a lot of these conversations, because I mean, it's like, bro, with like I said on my stream, the whole LGBTQ thing. I'm like, bro, I don't care, but I really don't, bro. That's just so. That's such a micro. Micro issue in my.
It's a subsegment. It's a subsegment of politics, right? And this is where my frustration comes into play when, especially guys like Mike V. Really do get painted with a broad brush, right? Because we speak specifically to Black men and Black boys, right? There's a political party that has like a spectrum of objectives and who they are trying to appeal to or market to, let's just say, right? Now, the question we ask, and this is where I'm looking at Hood Services comments in the chat, and I'm just like, bro, don't flatter yourself. Seriously, do not flatter yourself. The link's been put in the chat this whole time.
No, he's not gonna come on the panel. It's not about him. It's not about
Mike,
him.
Mike, and I know that, and I'm not, but I'm just saying, dude, let's just get it on the record. Don't flatter yourself, bro. All right.
Yeah.
But look, I'm just saying, right? We are open to solicitation for other political positions that have a policy that backs it, right? That would be beneficial, because look, we're open to that. this is all we're trying to ask here. That's why I'm like, Dave, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I want to go to constructive consultant. He hasn't spoken yet. What's going on? Any customer service complaints?
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
I can't
We
put
can
some
hear you,
volume
bro.
on your mic, please.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can hear you. Just yeah.
Okay, what about now?
You're
good, bro.
Rose.
Yeah, we can hear you pretty good.
Okay, all right. So before I start, I want to thank you guys for having me up on here. Thank you for your weekly broadcast. As a person who's been subscribed for the past 4 or 5 years now, I've been definitely taking the articles and the conversations to brothers in real life. Just to be clear, as I've always stated, I'm about a decade long tradesman, electrical to be specific. And so we do also work with engineers and things of that nature. So I am able to catch some of the flow of when Complex is talking about different trends in the market, and even from a consumer based level, not necessarily commercial, I am able to follow that a lot and things of that nature. So I just want to start that off with saying thank you. It is needed. Brothers, I am taking these conversations offline and and trying to get us with minded brothers. It is. would like to say though, the same things that you guys are running into as far as the kind of the more apathetic kind of, I guess, attitudes or thinking in the ways as far as being progressive, is the same thing happening out here too as well. And I think some of the things I would even say, I don't know if you found that same thing, Complex, you working in the business world with black men, is that I think some of those things run not inversely, but they're running conjoined to one another. Like your leader brother, he's trying to do the same thing, but he may also too harbor some of the same views as a, i.e., I don't want to say any names, but you guys were addressing in the chat. He may harbor some of those same views because it brings, in America, in the Western society, Western civilization, it brings those people from those walks of life. It just does, as opposed to, Mike, I would say, and following some of your political stuff too, Mike, I would say, as opposed to some of the more radical black channels that are on YouTube, that's going to bring a different set of people. But I think the more the progressive and the futurism and all that stuff. Hell, even I'm just finding out about solar punkism. I mean, just there's just an array of things, and so it brings a certain set of subscribers and people. And so don't think that it's just here. I'm running the same thing out here, and it's just as hard. Yeah, it is just as hard trying to declutter and debunk, Mike, a lot of BS talking points that come with it. Mike, listen, you could have Complex. You could have guys like yourself who are enterprising, who I met in my field, electrician and other trades and in the technology and stuff. And guess what? That same guy, he could be a avid listener of a Dan Locke, and he wants to spout you platitudes of a Jay Morrison,
right?
Or somebody who was a little above his pay grade, who he was palling around with. I can't think of that guy's name for the life of me. The white guy, who's in the real estate.
You're talking about Grant Cardone.
Correct. They will also bring those same ideas. So it's very hard to get. It's very hard to get find that the right combination of things. And I think you just kind of, to a degree, you have to work where they're at, and you have to also make clear what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And then, go ahead.
I'm sorry, bro. I was gonna reply to you, but go ahead and finish up, man, because you hit on a lot of points, man. Go ahead, dude. Go ahead, finish up.
And then after him, I need to get to go. Yeah.
Okay.
And just very quickly, one of the things that I've learned, man, is Mike, is that I've had to. This is like my username says. When I see that we are diverging so badly or inversely so much, I have to end it constructively as possible.
Right.
And I think that's one of our biggest things as far as progressive black men in the 21st century and thus far and thereafter.
Mhm.
We have to learn. That's what you see in the Manosphere, by the way. We have to learn to, if we're not going to partner up and do all these other things, to diverge away from each other in a constructive manner with no ill will. And I think what happens is a lot of times there's that lack of, we haven't really built that up, that as was talked about, I think Complex, you might have mentioned emotional intelligence enough to not do that. And I'll end it there.
No. And you know what, man, you bring up a multitude of points, bro, and I appreciate it. Mike, you said is Taz here?
Yeah, go.
Okay, yeah. Hey, what's going on, Taz? So I'll keep it short so we can let the brother get in. You know, you bring up a multitude of points, man, and that speaks to why it is that we do this. It really does at the end of the day, right? Because there are future trends, right? And we're the ones that are equipped with the skills, the resources, the tools to actually get embedded into this new age that has all of that. You know what I mean? So what we got to do is oftentimes separate the wheat from the chaff, look at policies and political environments that allow us to engage. That's why Mike hosts these political live streams, right? Like really like hammer through all of this to see what it is that's most beneficial to us. And once again, we put the call out, okay, what are the counter policies to what it is that we're dissecting? We would love to see it. Go ahead. Hey, Taz, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
What up, dog? What's cracking?
Hey, what's good with you, bro? It's been a long time, man. How you doing, man?
I'm all right, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So, but here's, I just got kind of a question. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think it goes with the theme of the stream, but I'm just basing it on the title.
Mm-hmm.
So, my question would be, how do y'all, who would be the brain part of the Manosphere, the only part that would fucking matter, how do y'all erase or at least diminish the louder part of the Manosphere that has created this negative element and whatnot over the black men that want to take part in it? So, you know, with the red pill shit and all of that, having such a negative part of it, how do y'all, who actually represent something meaningful and could actually be a public benefit to the Manosphere, how do you take that message and make it to where y'all become the face, though?
That's an interesting question. I like to stand on truth and facts, man. I'm a big data person. I'm a big, historic person as well. I like to stand on some kind of historic grounding. And I think that we have to keep doing content that is grounded in facts and history, and in logic. And I think that what's happening in the Manosphere is that there's more of them than there are of us. But if we stand our ground on a lot of these issues, I think that those guys would never have a chance to kind of at least be in the same room with us, right? They can't be on the same panel with us, because then their whole entire spiel, falls apart. And so I think if we just keep expanding the conversations, it doesn't have to be just the Black Brain Trust. It doesn't have to be just MOT. Nope. Everybody else can participate in this as well. All you got to do is stand on facts and history. That's it. Let's argue from there. Let's put all the issues on the table. Let's put all the information on the table, and let's go through it. You bring your sources, I bring my sources, and let's have that conversation. I think we also have to delineate who's Manosphere and who's not, because what does the Manosphere really stand for? Does it stand for the advocacy of Black men, or does it stand for attacking Black women? The Black Brain Trust doesn't stand for either one of them. Doesn't stand for that. The latter, right? We don't really stand for that, and so we don't bring up women as a rule, because we're trying to stay away from that conversation and focus on things of more substance. And so I think that when people want to have this, I know they like to go on these women panels and try to explain the history of the Manosphere, to their blue in the face, but no one ever comes to talks to us. But, what we're going to do the content anyways, right? We're just going to keep doing the content anyways until until we actually get some some real reciprocity in regards to the energy in the space. I think we did make some significant traction around the pandemic, or at least before the pandemic. I think we were pretty hot around that time. And I think that, after all that, after the pandemic, I think things kind of slowed down, but it can't just be the brain trust, right? It has to be everybody. The whole space should be a brain trust is really my position. The whole space should be
our
a
position.
That's
That's what Nagone said. He said this shit should be a LinkedIn. Am I wrong, Nagone?
You're very right about that. And the name of the game is also, we just want to really stick to the facts, to the facts. Yeah. If you're supposedly like people are saying conservative, or somebody else may be whatever position you might want to say you're on. Fair enough. But let's talk about things factually. I know certain people are trying to push certain levels of narratives. But, let's talk what the facts are. Let's bring those to the table. That's what we're really talking about, not having the space as being an information space. And over time, I would say that is going to win out, because certain facts are going to continue to come to light, where some of these other folks who are pushing narratives are not going to have really much of a leg to stand on. So I always say the truth will stand out to a large extent, over everything else is kind of how we see this thing moving. And I think that is what we're going to see. Just like now we see in science, it's like we see in science now, they got this telescope out there, that just vision, just look deep into the universe.
The James Webb.
The James Webb. Now all of a sudden, the Big Bang Theory, we talked about this for all these years.
We were doing a whole fucking live stream space technology on telescope.
Looks like the Big Bang Theory that's what it is, just the Big Bang. It's out. So now there's something new. Now there's something new coming on. The facts are coming out. That's the name of the game. Just continue to drop the facts. Stay and the right, and if you're on the right or the left, however, whatever side you're on, bring up the facts and that'll come out. The stuff that's unfactual, that's non-true, that's garbage, that's BS, will not stand.
Hey, we'll discard it.
And that's what will happen over time. Anyway, go ahead,
Alonzo Hall.
Go ahead.
All right. So in terms of with Taz's question, have you guys considered expanding the Black Brain Trust in a format similar to that of like the Labuto network or the Lapeef network?
No.
In terms of not exactly with the nonsense, but the format of expanding and maybe adding vetted creators who are like-minded to maybe lease the name like Trump does his to the Taj Mahal.
No, that's not.
Well, Mike, let me just answer that, dude, because we actually do that, right? So I would say the most recent example of that is my good brother and I would say new member of the Brain Trust, Jamal, at Kita Auto. Now that's the sim racing content that you see on the channel, right? But behind that is technology that we've talked about, AI, 3D engines, all this type of stuff. So now what we do is that's another brother, right, who has a channel that specializes in it. And so now what we do is we do deep dives into that. So that is an extension in what you were talking about. Yes.
So I actually disagree with that. When the purpose of the Black Brain Trust is to be a center of excellence in terms of the level of discourse that happens in the space. I think if everybody just copies that, right, or at least mimics that, then we would have more substance within the space. And so
that too. Yeah.
I don't think that we have to expand anything. I think that people should actually just adopt the framework of 3.0, and then they will have, more substance content. But
Mike, that's true.
Hold on, Complex. Let me.
My bad, dude. My bad. Go ahead.
And so, to answer your question and Goat's question, I think that at the end of the day, Black men have to ask themselves, what do they really want out of this space? Do you just want to sit up here and argue with women, especially some of these egregious attacks against, somebody like Cynthia G. I mean, some of these dudes talk about pulling up on her. I'm like, you got to be careful saying things like that now, because everybody can, they get RICO charges nowadays, and everybody can get swept up in this. And I don't want, any of our guys to be caught up in that either. And so we got to start marginalizing those sort of content creators and those sort of chat participants and subscribers who subscribe to those channels. We got to start marginalizing them because if they're not adding value to the space, man, they're just distracting. And so to answer you and Goat's question, then that's my position on all of this. I just think that, if everybody just does their job, then, we'll be all right, man, in the space.
And Mike, let me just make a retraction. I didn't mean to say what I said. In all actuality, Jamal had his channel prior to us collaborating, right? But what I'm saying is that what we're trying to do is push our agenda further by doing things like collaborations with people who reflect what we do. That's what I meant to say. Because with all due respect to Jamal, he already had his channel, all that shit, long before we started collaborating, right?
Okay. Can I just
go ahead, Ronan, then we'll go to Mana tomorrow.
Okay, I'm gonna say land my plane here after I say what I say, and I'm gonna dip out. Yeah. So the reason I feel that we need to expand is by organizing, saying who's in the black brain trust space, and because if someone does something that technically that's not part of the manifesto of the Black Brain Trust, we can disavow them and we can remove them, literally physically remove them from the space. And also why I also say we should expand is because of analytics, hashtags, even sharing the same symbol on our individual channels will show that we are officially part of this network of thought or thinking. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was going at, but it's only scratching the layer of my idea of expanding and making our own type of, really Manosphere 3.0.
Yeah, go ahead, Manosphere.
It's a good question, but it's just an offshoot of where people are already at. We're already productive people trying to do great things, and the majority of people here are productive or even unproductive people who just want to argue with women all day and all night, whether they're married, unmarried, having experience or not having experience. I'm just saying that the larger group of people that you want to invite in here is not going to do anything but destroy the actual intent of what we're actually trying to do. Look at where look at what they're doing, where they're currently at now. They can't even make peace with each other where they're at now. There's no way that we could be able to expand this. Like, you already have to be on things. You already have to have a career. You already have to have other things to do. So that way you're not caught up in hustlers mentalities, sociopathy, and wanting to destroy everything around you for clicks and analytics. I reject the analytics based argument because that's why these people do what they do. Because the grand majority of people are here for entertainment. And they know that this house, what it looked like before, or else they protect themselves from the information by just taking their ass over to other places and just keep destroying the actual space that they claim that they bring value to. So I don't understand how we could be able to expand something when these people don't have the capacity or the capability to do so. I think we're asking a lot for these people to focus on things that are actually productive. I think that we need to leave the unproductive people over there where they're at. We stay over here where we are. You let them have their underhanded ways of trying to discuss different groups of people. But listen, if this is what the women want to have on, then don't talk about no goddamn community, because you teamed up with the Bravo Alpha November. You had them on. You gave them a voice, and you ignored productive brothers. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying this: as long as we have individual outcomes, that's the only thing that matters at this point, because you're not going to save this group. I'm here for the individual to do better. And those individuals are going to become the new group. The new group is based on the individuals that sat around and waited for everybody else to do things for them. So I'm like, look, man, if you're not on the productive shit, there's nothing that's going to bring you to it. It is an at-will follow. I'm glad it's not a forced association. So that way you can see exactly what people gravitate to. And that's what they gravitated to. And this is why a whole bunch of people try to play both sides and try to come back, block. Nah, man, get on with that. Go back over there where you own that with the relationship talk. I mean, but there's two spaces. There's the progressive space where people want to actually participate in society, and there's people who want to argue with women who want to separate themselves from society.
Yeah.
People already decided where they wanted to be. So.
Yeah. Let me go to actually.
Yo, Mike, I'm
Yes,
about to jump off, but thank you for having me on, man. And
Hey,
thanks
thank
for the
you.
match.
Hey, thank you for coming up, man.
Oh, no
Yeah,
problem.
man. Please come back.
I will.
All right.
Man, great seeing you up here, fam. Hopefully see you
All right,
again.
later.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So what we've just to kind of recap, because I know that DE Raptor's been trying to join for a minute, but he's having some significant issues here with his mic. Just to kind of recap, man, all these people who have a grudge or a grievance with the Black Brain Trust should come up here. There's a link in the chat, and if you have not updated your Zoom client, make sure you update it before coming on, and let's have a discussion about what your grievance is. What are your customer complaints about the Black Brain Trust, man? What are you seeing wrong with the channel? Mike V reads so many articles. Well, if I didn't read the article, you ain't gonna read it. That's for sure. I mean, we can't have a space that talks about Black boys reading at a third grade level, then turn back around and complain about articles being read by another Black man. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, like it's not articulated properly. It's just like, whoa.
Yeah, and so they don't like the way we do content. Okay, fine. You don't like the way we cover politics. Okay, fine. When are you going to get on the panel and actually have a discussion with us about, these sort of complaints? I want to.
Yeah, you don't care for the esports.
Yeah.
Okay. What? Let us know.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Oh, D Raptor, can you hear us?
Is D there?
Yeah, I think he's still joining. Anyways, let me try this. Again, just kind of follow up and just do a recap, man. I don't think he's going to be able to join, so I just want to make sure we close out. Go. You have anything else that you want to add, man, before we get up out of here?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Oh, you can hear us.
There's there he is.
Yeah, I'm having a problem with my thing. I'm using my phone, and here in Gambia, this internet is a pain. But anyway,
I can imagine.
Conversation. Yeah. I like the conversation tonight, but I like what MOT said. You can't change these people. I'm serious. We've been going at this since I've been on the TBBT, I don't know, 5 years ago when we started out. And these people were, even when Mike would come on every night with a set program, they come in and try to derail the conversation because they don't listen. And they don't even read for themselves. They don't say, let's kind of find a path to the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? The knowledge that you're going to use in the future and learn from the past. They're not going to change. They come into the space to disrupt the space. And for whatever reason, some come to disrupt it because they're clout chasing, some come for money, some come for fame, they but that's the way people act. And we see it throughout the US. Even we can see that the state is falling down around them. And people who were before, who were being productive, more productive than they are now losing their own jobs, they're losing their homes, they're losing their children, they're losing everything that they have. And these people are not changing. I can't argue. I can't find myself arguing with them about stuff. All right, thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go. You got anything else you want to add before we pull up out here?
Yeah, man. Just the fact, like I say, man. Like most Black men ain't trying to lead intellectually, and I think that's kind of the issue. I don't like the analytics say that the fighting shit works, but it's because most niggas use this shit to fight, and so. I don't know, bro. I do appreciate what y'all do in terms of, like I said, just being attached to the manosphere, but having a decent and respectable image for it. And so I do like to pop in and check y'all out and see what y'all got going on. And plus, y'all go all the way back to 2019 with me. And You know what I'm saying? All that shit. So
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for y'all, bro. I appreciate what y'all do, fam.
Hey,
Hey,
man,
thank-
we appreciate you, brother. We
Hey,
appreciate you.
yeah, thank you for pulling up, man. You know, and send
Yeah.
your regards to wifey, man.
No doubt.
For sure.
Indeed, indeed, Taz.
All right, thank you all for coming on, man. Customer service is closed now, man. We're gonna be up out of here.
The phones are off.
No, we definitely about to call Q, man.
That was good.
The phones are off.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Peace, brother Nagone. You see what's going on down south, bro?
Man, I see it, man. Yo, man,
All right.
I see it. I see it.
All right.
Eu vejo tudo. All right, man.
Yeah.